dome in the capital city. It was the teacher that determined whether I progressed or not, because it was the teacher who was in the best position to determine if I was learning that or not. There were standards, or should be standards set, but we have overregulated the education system. Until we can get that corrected, and one of the other problems that we've run into, and again, I'm painting with a broad brush, is that our education system has become system-focused instead of child-focused. They are, in many cases, it's more focused on the education system as a machine that needs to be kept going than it is on what is the best resource, what is the best thing for the child. And we talked about economics. I chaired a statewide commission on science and technology this year. We traveled across the state of Georgia. What we were looking at is bringing in the businesses, those economic drivers in the science and technology industry, which the technology industry is the fastest growing industry in this nation. It is setting a pace, it's setting the bar. That is, even during this tough economic time, we continue to see growth and expansion in technology, in the technology industry. So we wanted to know, why are those businesses not growing in Georgia at the same pace they are in other states? To get that answer, we went and asked the industries themselves. The first thing we found out was that there were 5,000 to 10,000 jobs in the state of Georgia that were unfilled because there wasn't the quality workforce to fill those jobs. We also found out that about 60% of those jobs did not require a college degree, just some type of certification. And those jobs started at an average salary of $60,000 to $65,000 a piece. Now, you don't need a college degree to get these jobs. You need some type of certification. Starting at $60,000 to $65,000 a piece, I would bet, if I was a betting man, you put $65,000 in the back pocket of 10,000 19-year-olds in the state of Georgia, they themselves will turn the economy around. Every automobile dealer, every sports car dealer in the state would love you. But the thing is, they're sitting unfilled. We had a panel, and the panel consisted of key executives from Hewlett-Packard Corporation, Cisco, Microsoft, and Intel Corporation. After we had the panel and they talked about how they can't fill these jobs that they have, they're going not only out of state but out of country to bring these jobs in. We said if there was one thing the state of Georgia could do for the technology industry in the state, if there was one thing that we could do, what would it be? Every member of that panel said, school choice, let the money follow the child, because then we can educate a workforce. The analogy that was brought up was this. Bill Gates, the founder and CEO of Microsoft, can go to any university in the state of Georgia and teach computer science. He can teach computer science at any technical college. He can teach computer science at Excel Christian Academy here in town. He can teach computer science at any private school, but he is not allowed to teach computer science in K-12 education, public schools, because he doesn't have a certification. Those are the types of regulations and barriers that we are trying to work to overcome. It is affecting our economy, and the businesses are looking for alternatives. Cisco Corporation is helping fund a charter school in Gwinnett County that is, what they're trying to do is basically seed the field and say, we will put our money in to help build an educated workforce that will help us in the future. Those are the types of things that school choice allows.
You're going to get a lot more answer than you wanted, Mike. Because I'm going to have to throw in a couple of things here too on that. One is, I think that the question is wrong. Not if 20 kids leave the system, how are we damaging the system? But if 20 kids, their school is not working for them, and they have to stay in a school that is not working for them, how are we damaging those children? I think that is the fundamental question that matters the most. Now, I'm not anti-system, but let me ask you this. 20 kids, they're in school, it's not working for them. What do as soon as they're old enough? They drop out.
They quit.
How much money does the school system get for those kids when they drop out? Nothing. They get nothing. So if those kids drop out and they get nothing for those kids, or their parents are dissatisfied and they move to another county, how much does the school system get for those kids? Nothing. So it kind of makes sense that the money follows the child. To me, it just makes perfect sense that it follows the child to where the parent wants them to go, where they're getting a good education. And my friend who was on the school board, and my grandmother was a school teacher, and I love a lot of school teachers are my friends, and one of my very best friends is on the school board, and she said, if 10% of the school kids leave and decide to go to another school, what are we going to do with our buildings? I have a great answer for that. Charter schools need buildings. Rent them to the charter school. And then the buildings will be used, and they will be taken care of. You don't want empty school buildings sitting around. And then I've had teachers say, what about my job? Well, I understand that. It's a tough economy. I get that question. Two things I'll say about that. For one thing, when I got my job, I had to sign a contract that said, we can fire you for any reason or for no reason. I mean, if I don't do a good job, I don't keep my job. And I think that should be the case in every profession. And I think it makes me a better employee because I had to sign that contract and because I know that is the reality, that if I don't do my job, I don't keep it. The other thing is, though, if, let's say 10% of students went to charter schools, those schools are going to need teachers. And so at the Patala Academy that you saw in the film down in South Georgia, they were started by school teachers. Everybody there was a public school teacher. And they were very frustrated with what was going on in their public schools. They served those 5 counties. They came from all different counties. They got together and they started that charter school. So they have jobs, but now their jobs are threatened because of this ruling, because they were a state-approved charter school. Now they serve 5 counties. They could go to all 5 of those counties and ask permission to still exist under the current law, but if 2 of those counties turn them down and the other 3 say it's okay, they lose a lot of their students. Students who want to go to that school and who that school is working for. And I hope you caught where they are outperforming every school system that they draw children from, all 5 of those systems. So, and
kind of one of the side issues I think that we touch on in the film, we call it the social impact of failing schools, is something that there is a fallback system if they leave the public school system, and that is the criminal justice system. And unfortunately, that statistic is terrifying. The way that the numbers skyrocket on student incarceration if they drop out of high school early. There's a direct impact on our criminal justice system in Georgia, which reform is being discussed at the Capitol right now related to that issue. It's a side issue, but in some ways it's connected. In a lot of ways, it's very, very connected. I'm going to ask another one here, because I don't know, but yeah, I want to go to the room as well. Yes, sir. Your name?
Probably more of a comment than question. First of all, Senator and Representative, we sure appreciate you guys representing our conservative values in Atlanta. As soon as you get things straightened out there, we'll send you to Washington. Is he on his way?
I hope so.
I strongly support school choice. I sure appreciate the opportunity here to discuss it, and I appreciate everything that's been said here. That is the single most effective thing we could do to improve the education of our kids, and that is what it should all be about. In Rome, we have some private schools. My grandkids go to Unity Christian School, and it's been great for them. The dreadful thing is, in order for their parents to send them to a private school, they have to forfeit the money that the state has collected from them and from me for the education of our kids, and then come up with money to pay tuition. And that is dreadful. If something like that was done in